Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode.
Yeah.
So the I guess the main story this week is going to be Israel and Iran. That's been dominating the news for the last several
hmm
days. So that's probably where we should dive into. So
Mm.
anyway, so welcome to Staying Sane. I'm Jay, and my partner in crime, Hussein, as usual. We were off last week as I was on vacation, so we're back to it. So
Yeah.
I read an interesting article on BBC saying, "What is Israel's end game with attacking Israel?"
hmm
Um, so they were making the case, and other analysts as well, that perhaps Israel is hoping to stoke some of that, uh, like as we saw with the anti-hijab protests over the last couple of years, that the resentment of the populace at this Islamic Republic and the repression that they're living under, that is perhaps Israel might be hoping to stoke some of that resentment, public resentment, into open flame, and topple the Islamic government. What do you think?
Um, yeah, that was always a threat. And if you look back to October 7th, if you analyze how that proxy war has been initiated and how Iran was playing a crucial role in that, especially for sabotaging the good relations that Israel was trying to make with Saudi Arabia, and how Iran wanted to stop that from happening. So this was always, if you look at the recent events, always a problem for the Middle East as a whole. It's not just for Israel. And now we have even more evidence that Iran was violating some of the nuclear treaties where they were enriching more than what is permitted. And that's one reason. And they were not even allowing the watchdogs to have a inspection at their nuclear facilities. So these are some of the statements that are coming up now, and which is proving uh, Israel's action right now for targeting the nuclear sites and to crippling their military might in this manner. It's giving them a little bit of legitimacy, and it's giving some approval from some of the nations surrounding Israel. So this is what we are seeing right now.
Do you think Israel could be hoping that there might be a counter revolution to the 79 Islamic Revolution, that the people are going to rise up against the government? They're getting, they've been repressed, the hijab, all of the Islamic
Yeah.
repression, and now they're getting bombed by Israel. Like, do you think the Iranian people, this could be a spark for them to topple their government?
Yeah, I've spoken to some of the Iranians whom I have met who are active on social media through politics and all these things. And what I have learned from them is that they are literally hoping for a chance where they can just defy the regime, their oppressive tactics, how they use the force, the military force, and the police, and the moral policing and everything, which they can openly challenge. And if they are getting a chance to come out in that way, then there's a chance that there will be a counter revolution, which is due from 1979. But that's not easy as we think, or as Israel. I don't think Israel is thinking that, but the people in Iran are thinking that. And that's one reason why even when Raisi was when he got killed in last year, the people were rejoicing there by fireworks and with drinks and distributing sweets and doing all sorts of things like that. So they literally want the Islamic regime to go away. and they wanted to make a normal living. And there are some even other statistics which is coming out from Iran, which says clearly that the people in Iran, they have gone away from the belief system that is Islam, and they, most of them are mostly atheists or moving to other religious sects, like even to Christianity they are moving. So Islam is losing ground in Iran, and that's primarily because of this Islamic regime, which has caused much damage to their belief system. So, if there is a, if you ask me if there is a chance for such a revolution, counter revolution, there is a chance, but it's not easy. But that's not impossible too.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it happens. I
Yeah.
think it would be,
Hmm.
it's gonna, it would have to be like a total groundswell. Like there would have to be such tremendous public
Uh,
uprising
yeah.
that it would, the military just wouldn't, you'd have to fire on like pretty much your entire
Mm.
citizenry, and like a lot of the
And have
soldiers are gonna would be,
yeah.
would be opposed to that. So
And have you ever thought like this, that Iran has supplied the most number of secular Muslims throughout the world? Okay, secular Muslims. So they will be there in many parts of the world, even especially in Europe, where especially in UK you can see them, and they will be fueling the secularization or controlling the Islamic faction who is trying to control their country, like Islamization of UK. If you talk like that, you can see even Muslims who had fled from Iran, who are living in UK. They are becoming the counter voices for such Muslims, and they're coming out and they are even leading the political uprisings to the leftist front, or maybe to the centrist fronts, or even to the right. And they can give a chance for other people to stand by them or to just voice for them, to criticize Islam or to explain what real Islam is. Just like what in 2017 the UAE minister said to the European people, especially, that you don't think, no, you will see more extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe. And one of the reasons why he said that was, you think that you know Islam and the Muslims more than we do. That's what he said. So when that sort of a situation comes up, Iranians will be there. The secular Muslims who had fled from an Islamic regime by finding or seeing or suffering from all the atrocities while being in Islamic Sharia rule, they are present all over the world, and they can lead a movement where they can clearly explain to the people what would happen, or if you try to side with them, um, getting uh, fooled by their political motives. Like they might obscure their real intentions, and they just outwardly project their humanitarian phase or something like that, some activism, some identity politics and all. So in that way, these people can clearly point out what they are trying to do. They will be able to detect this danger of Islamism. So in that way, Iran is a hope for the world in this way. Iranians, not the Iran as a country, but Iranians are a hope for the world. And I think we should have a discussion with some of the Iranians who are in touch with us on this channel itself. If that's possible, things will be even more clearer to the public.
yeah.
We
So
can
yeah,
plan
I
that.
guess like with everything, it's kind of we're in wait and see mode to see how things unfold. So, but
Hmm.
I thought it was an interesting speculative analysis to think that you know Israel's decision to launch, one of the factors could be a regime change. So that the people are
Right.
going to be fed up with, they on top of everything else, they're being bombed. They're just not
Hmm.
going to take it anymore. So yeah, so
Hmm.
we'll have to wait and see. So um, the I don't know if you watched The Daily Show, but I saw the review today with Jon Stewart, and they were making, well, of course, Jon Stewart, is Jewish. He's a secular
Hmm.
Jew,
Hmm.
but he does not seem to have any love for Netanyahu and his band of thugs. And he was highlighting that uh, the hypocrisy of Netanyahu, that oh, we need to stop Iran, like, and he was showing like these clips from like 2012, 2015, 2018. It's like, oh, Iran is like weeks away from an enriched nuclear bomb, and yet here we are in 2025 and they're still doing, still making the same claims. So
Hmm.
John Stewart, so if anybody wants to watch it, you can go like find the Monday clip of the Daily Show with Jon Stewart
Hmm.
discussing that, and he's illustrating these video clips of Netanyahu saying this. and pointing out this hypocrisy. So,
Mm,
um, but yeah, it seems I don't know. To me, this seems like a very miscalculated risk on Netanyahu's part.
mm,
I think I think he risks the entire region just
mm,
devolving into open warfare, and that's not going to be good for anybody. It's not certainly not going to be good for the safety of the Jewish people. You know,
mm,
they keep saying, "Oh, we're doing this for the Jewish safety." You're like, well, sorry, but constantly antagonizing everybody is not good for your safety, as multiple Israeli journalists have been pointing out for years. That this is you're just breeding more and more discontent. So
But in this case, I think the Middle East is standing partly with him. Not even if it's not overtly, at least covertly, they are standing with him. And even some
Netanyahu,
of the missiles and yeah, with Netanyahu, like you might have noticed some drones were intercepted by Jordan and some were intercepted by Saudi Arabia while they were passing through their airspace when Iran was firing all these. So not the missiles but the drones. So so there is a consensus. I'm not saying that it's pretty outwardly expressed in that way, but it's there. So it's a silent approval of what Israel is doing because Iran is a Shia country and it's known for their threatening attitude, the proxy wars that they've been doing, and all sort of things which we are seeing since October 7th, and even they multiple times they had called onto other Arab countries to stand together to send an Islamic army to attack the Jewish state. So for them, everything is black and white. That is Muslims versus Jews. It's like that. They are trying to convert everything. It's only for the other people and for the leftists and the pseudo seculars that this is not something related to religion and it's everything humanitarian and it's like there's no religion playing a part. It's geographical conflict and all. But for the real parties who are fighting in this, it's a war of ideologies. And apart
yeah,
from that,
there's
yeah, they use all these reasons to just to base their real intentions or to hide them, so that people can be confused for a moment or two, and this is clearly visible. Have you noticed this march to Gaza? One attempt was made by first by the flotilla, Greta Thunberg. She tried to
yeah,
sail into Gaza and she finally arrived in that area and she was deported back to France. And after that, there was another group of people who came down to Cairo, Egypt, and they were trying to cross the border and they wanted to reach Rafah. And they were stopped at the borders by the Egyptian police. And only that moment, I don't know whether they have realized or not, but they have faced what is going on in that area because the police and the people over there, they were stopping them, and literally we could see these people, the people from the European countries, they are kneeling and begging to these people. We have come to save the Palestinians. Please send us to them. We have brought the items for them. Please send us. Please believe us. Please listen to us. These were the type of cry that they were making. And you must see that. So this is the reality. So we only talk about the walls that is being constructed by Israel, which is stopping the Palestinians from moving out and all. We never talk about the fences that's made by Egypt, which is even more taller. We don't mention about the fences or the blockades which is made by the Jordan. We don't mention about that. So what is stopping all these people, or what is making all these people to do this way, like to stop the Palestinians? What is the reason? If they are brethren and if they are fellow Arabs and if they have a common ancestry and everything except for the Jews, why do they want to stop Gazans or the Palestinians to enter into Cairo or to Egypt?
I I would speculate. I mean, I know they said, there's been reports that said, Jordan and Egypt don't want them because they're afraid of the terrorist threat coming in, that nobody likes the Palestinians, which, I don't buy that argument. But don't forget both Egypt and Jordan. they're not exactly, first world economies. I saw a documentary, within the last few years that, Jordan is suffering a massive drought. Like that, the people, like like Jordan can barely afford to feed and provide water to their own populace. How are they supposed to then, coordinate supply, and like this massive group of refugees? I think
Mhm.
my
But that's
my
yeah.
thinking would be it's probably more on the logistics side that these are countries that are already have strained resources and they know that they cannot
Okay.
accommodate this. Whether that's right or wrong. I mean, should they be taking in some people? Yeah, probably. If some of the Palestinian refugees could get to Jordan and Egypt, then at least that international aid could be provided to them in those countries. If Israel's not allowing it into Gaza, then like there's nothing stopping international aid from getting into Egypt and Jordan to help them out. So, but I mean, again,
Uh,
we're
it's
not behind closed doors. We don't know what's really
mm,
going on. So,
yeah, but for this, it's not something. I don't completely agree to the logistics part because when you say this today, okay, we can agree to an extent. But if you look at the history, if you just look at what Jordan had faced in the past, it's something called as the Black September. So that was an attempt by the Palestinians who were given the refugeehood in their country, and back in 1960s or 70s, I don't exactly remember the day, but year, but they had this event which is known as Black September, and that was an attempt by the Palestinians under the PLO um, to topple the King Hussein in Jordan, and King Hussein had to uh, they had to act with force and to throw out every Palestinian who was present in their country to other countries, neighboring countries, mostly to Lebanon and other places. So this was one reason why Jordan is not taking these people anymore because there's always a security threat for them. So it's not like you are giving space for them and they just live by your side and your people. That's not happening always. And it's not just an event which happened once or twice. This has happened in many other places. You look at what happened in Lebanon, the complete demographics in that place got transformed, and now when you look at Lebanon once, which was called as the Paris of the Middle East, is now in turmoil. And that's one reason why it's now looking at in that shape is mostly because of what they had taken in their history. That's mostly the Palestinians, and they uh, meddled with their demographics. So that's one another example. And if you look at what Kuwait had faced when Saddam Hussein was attacking Kuwait, these people who were given the refugees status in Kuwait, they sided with Saddam, their army, and they were attacking their own people who were giving them or providing them everything from food and shelter and everything. So this is the kind of um, attitude that these Palestinians had always displayed, and this is one reason why they are always suspicious of these people. So they have never shown an accountability, or they just want to remain as refugees eternally. That's not possible. So this is one reason, and Egypt really knows well, and Egypt and Jordan is two countries which has come up to make peace with Israel from the beginning and has faced the wrath of other Arabic countries. And Egypt was dismissed from the organization for just making peace with Israel, and and the reason cited was for us Muslims, Islamic rule states that you have to be always enemy with the Jews, and you are trying to bring peace with them. That's against our religion, our motives, and our destination. So now you have violated our rule, and now you are dismissed. And this happened in the history. So this is how peace is asked to pay for something.
yeah, but I
So
mean, of
yeah.
the agitators,
Mm.
you've got a large refugee problem or population, and you've got the agitators, the terrorists. I mean, what percentage? Like you said, like Hussein kicked them all out. Okay, was that fair to the refugees who weren't fighting? they weren't doing anything. I mean, if you have like say even only 10% of
It
the
was not
refugees
10%.
well,
They
it
were
certainly
en
wasn't 100%.
masse. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
what
certainly
was
wasn't
en masse.
100% of
It was very difficult to single out who was carrying out this and all. So that's the peculiarity of this Black September. They were just trying to, or they were just waiting for the right moment, and they wanted to topple the government, and they wanted to control everything. So when this British mandate was partitioned as the Palestinian part, this part which belonged to Jordan, that became a country, and at that same moment the space or the place which was allotted to the Palestinian people, what we call as the Palestine today, they refused to agree with that. So that's the beginning of what we see as a, or we talk as a history right now after the British mandate. So for the Jordan and that part of the world, they are happy with whatever things that they are having, and they are trying to make peace with their neighboring countries, and they wanted to just exist, in a way coexist even with the Jews. That's what they are trying to do, and it's now even what you can see with other Arab countries. Even lately we are seeing the peace agreements with between UAE, Morocco, then Bahrain, and Egypt, and many other countries. So if that is possible with the Abraham Accords, why not with other Arab countries? That's what just made a way for Saudi Arabia to come forward for this peace agreements, and that's one thing, one reason why Iran had to intervene and to stop this. And for that, they used this um, foul play, that is proxy war, using the people from Yemen, from Lebanon, from Palestine, that is Hahi, who we call it, that is Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis. Hahihu. It's easy to remember. So that's how they made it. And now you can see, after eliminating or controlling all these three forces, now they are directly attacking the sponsor of these three proxy forces. So that's what we are seeing, and they were confident in that way because they had a hidden plan of using this nuclear weapons, and there are evidence coming up which clearly says that Iran is on the verge of developing a weapon out of that, the enriched uranium. So that's something serious, and we cannot just ignore that. And there's a almost 13 years old speech by Douglas Murray. Have you listened to that? That he was making the same, a kind of a prediction or kind of a prophecy that he was making. So exactly what happened now. So when Israel attacks Iran, for the reason of having a nuclear bomb, only Israel can do that, and all the people in the world will criticize Israel, except for the Arabs who are surrounding Israel, and who are opposed to Iran will side with Israel. The whole Europe and other America and all other countries will criticize Israel. This is what's going to happen. This is what something he had said 13 years ago, and this is exactly what we are seeing now. And I'm sure that at least some of the European countries, they will come forward, because they are within the range of Iranian missile heads, especially the nuclear heads. So they are not safe. They are not in a safe zone. So they absolutely they are in danger. So they will at a point will thank Israel for this. Yeah, already we have
Yeah,
seen
I think
coming up.
there's definitely no love lost between Iranians and the Sunni nations, especially
Yeah,
Saudi.
never
Uh,
happens.
so I can see that the Sunni Arab nations aligning against Iran, and then I think I saw a few days ago, Iran threatened like the UK, France, the US, like anybody that supports Israel, they're going to be, held responsible by Iran. I'm like, dude, does
Hmm.
the Iranian regime seriously think they can take on Israel, Saudi, UK, France, USA simultaneously? Like they'd be demolished.
Hmm.
So maybe
Yeah.
that's what Netanyahu was counting on. Maybe he's counting on Iran would overstep like that, and then like
Hmm.
the US, the UK, and France and
And
Saudi
Iran has
would
now
come in and
approached Pakistan too for the help.
yeah, but Pakistan is a Sunni country, so.
But yeah, but they have approached, and I was thinking, how dumb is this country to ask for help, not just because of that, but you might have heard about what India was doing to Pakistan for the terror attack, that what they did in our country, and for after we gave them a reply, or gave them the we countered their terror activity by focusing or targeting some of their terror targets. Um, they couldn't do anything, and Indian forces could even reach near to, or they literally we could target two or three of their nuclear sites itself, direct hit. We didn't damage it, but we were able to hit that. So that was a clear sign that Pakistan is not safe from Indian military surveillance. So they clearly know they are in danger, and so the response India gave was inclusive of ceasefire. It was not something like you have to talk and you have to lobby for ceasefire after the attack or during the attack. No, that's not what happened here. We gave the reply as a counter-terror activity, or a response from our part. The military, the navy, and everyone were in a synergistic action, and that was inclusive of the ceasefire. And we just made that, and everything was silent afterwards. We waited for the escalation, and nothing happened. So we are still waiting for that, but until now, everything is safe.
Yeah, well, Pakistan would ended up being surrounded, right? You got India on their eastern border, and then if they were to join in with Iran, and Iran gets attacked by Israel, U.S., UK, France, then and if Pakistan is supporting them, then Pakistan would be done. I mean, like you got India on one side and you got everybody else on the other. Like you'd
But for India, there is
be
no such an intention to destroy Pakistan. We don't have such an intention. You look at what Pakistan did after our response. They were deliberately firing the missiles and the grenades and other things, the shells, onto the civilian structures here, without any focus or any precision. They were just firing it. So people were getting killed here in some of the regions, and they were literally injured to a great extent. Apart from that, we were able to stop them. But the same happens when Israel attacks the Iranian military structures, clearly avoiding the civilian structures and not deliberately causing any damage to the civilians. It's clearly visible. You can even see the precision of their ammunition, which is causing the damage and killing some of their top leaders and top officials in their IRGC and Iranian military. We were also doing that, but the response, which is coming from Iran to Israel, is like they are just firing thousands, hundreds and thousands of missiles and ballistic missiles. And if there was no Iron Dome, what would have been the situation in Iran, in Israel? Israel would have disappeared from the planet now by now. But they knew that they have the Iron Dome, and that's one reason why they're firing it like rain. So the responses speaks louder. So they don't have any precision. They don't have any strategy. They are just trying to rain the ammunitions, and that's not going to work. And it's giving other people a chance to understand who are the real, the rogue person who are blind and causing the damage, who are intentionally causing the damage. So that's clear here. So on our side, we have seen that from Pakistan. Now we are seeing that the same thing from Iran. So this is how it is. So apart from the damages and the deaths which is causing on both the sides, the intention clearly speaks, and we have to focus on that. And only by assessing the intentions, and only based on that, we could make even an equivalence of their moral positions. That's one reason why we have to stand with Israel, because we cannot just ignore what their intentions are or how they do it. It is visible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, whether the regime does fall, especially like I said, if they're going to threaten the UK, France, and the US, then
I
there's
think
no
so.
way around, and especially with Saudi's not going to stand by. I mean, Saudi would like to see the Persian or the Iranian Islamic regime fall too. So I think it would be.
And the people in Iran, they also
Yeah,
want
and the
the
people
regime
in
to
Iran.
go.
I think the Iranian
Yeah.
regime's days are quickly coming to an end if they don't If they escalate, they're done for sure. There's just
Yep.
their people, the Saudis, the Western coalition. They'll just be done.
Mm,
They'll just take them out. And
right.
maybe that is a good thing because the people want freedom, they want secularism. So maybe that would be a good thing to take out the regime. So and
Yeah.
return it to a democratic nation.
So let's wish the best for the Iranian people and all the people in the Middle East. That's what
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody is pretty much sick and tired of the endless
Yeah.
warfare and skirmishes and would like to see some peace. So
Right. Okay.
yeah. Okay.
So we'll
Yeah,
see you next
let's
week.
wrap it up
Anything
there.
else?
Okay.
Yep.
I think
Right.
that was the main story for this week. So yeah, we've covered it. So,
Okay.
all right, so thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoyed our chat. And we'll see everybody in hopefully next week. We should be here
We
next week,
have
but in case
we have yeah, we have a few audience joining from our Twitter. So we must thank them specifically. You must also follow our YouTube channel, that is the official channel, that is Atheist Alliance International, and we are trying to bring that up more with more content and engagement. So please subscribe to our channel. It's on YouTube, Atheist Alliance International. So the Twitter handle which you might be seeing right now is my personal channel, so personal profile. So please move on to the YouTube channel too. So just wanted to remind people. Thank you
yeah.
so much for joining there. Yeah.
Good. Great. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye.